Word Max 5300. Produced by WorldCom Edu. Word Max 5300. Level 6.
Word Max Book 6.
Day 1. Impact. Have a big impact on body weight. Finding. Quote the organization's finding. Arrange. Neatly arrange her dolls. Gain. Bring a long-term financial gain. Slightly. Spicy but slightly sweet. Tendency. A tendency to wear dark clothing. Automatically. Ensure success automatically. Employment. Create employment. Perception. Change in his perception of the environment. Depressed. Become depressed after retirement. Presence. Religion's presence in society. Currently. Be currently on display. Entirely. Be entirely surrounded by a fence. Surroundings. Study in pleasant surroundings. Tremendous. Tremendous damage. Consequently. Consequently, he won. Rational. Think in a rational way. Ultimately. Ultimately accept the proposal. Take for granted. Take her success for granted. Vitamin. Be rich in vitamin A and B. Essence. The essence of justice. Interpretation. A modern interpretation of the Bible. Infection. Cause the bacterial infection. Secure. Create a secure and reliable password. Institute. The Institute for English Education. Striking. A striking similarity. Protective. Wear protective clothing. Consistent. Be consistent with. Capital. Human capital. Capital flow. Reasoning. Have sound reasoning.
Day 2. Agent. Contact his literary agent. Adapt. Adapt quickly to the new environment. Extend. Extend understanding. Productivity. Increased productivity. Burst. Burst into fragments. Come across. Come across her old friend. Auditory. Suffer from auditory difficulties. Elegant. Her exceptionally elegant performance. Resort. Resort to Tim's ability. Insightful. Incredibly insightful lyrics. Colony. Establish their colony in India. STEM. Continue to conduct stem cell research. Sue. Decide to sue Tom for damages. Belongings. Pack her belongings. Guilt. Be filled with guilt. Harsh. Endure the long and harsh winter. Inevitable. The accident seemed inevitable. Inspiration. Look for inspiration. Interpersonal. Improve your interpersonal skills. Municipal. Hold a municipal election. Amber. Amber-colored. Drag. Drag her desk over to the door. Rehearsal. A public rehearsal. Pave. Pave a street with asphalt. Slam. Slam the door. Real estate. Work in real estate. Hypothesis. Confirm a hypothesis. Peculiar. A peculiar smell. Attentive. Attentive students. Margin. A wide margin.
Day 3. Hue. The study of color hues. His healthy hue. Monetary. The recent international monetary crisis. Affordable. Look for an affordable car. Assess. Difficult to assess a customer's needs. Lag. Lag behind his colleagues. Invaluable. Our invaluable challenge. Warranty. Extend the warranty period. Cue. Nonverbal cues. Awe. Evoke awe. Herd. A herd of elephants. Faint. Faint memory of childhood. Irrelevant. Be irrelevant to our plan. Mainstream. The mainstream culture of Korea. Outlet. Find an outlet for his many talents. Password. Impossible to enter without a password. Intrinsic. The intrinsic beauty of the Hanbok. Venture. Venture into space. Ignorant. Ignorant to global warming. Incentive. Give an incentive to study English. Underneath. Underneath the tower. Shortage. A shortage of water. Concerning. An address concerning future generations. Constrain. Constrain children to eating only vegetables. Accumulate. Accumulate a lot of stamps. Paradigm. A new paradigm of making movies. Corrupt. Corrupt practices. Corrupt officials. Diffusion. Diffusion of floral odor. Detergent. Invent an eco-friendly detergent. Interior. Do the interior decorating. Regional. A regional dialect. Regional delicacy.
Day 4. Discomfort. Relieve the discomfort. Companion. Respect the hobby of your companion. Subconscious. Reveal his subconscious desire. Accommodate. Accommodate more than 200 people. Strive. Strive for independence. Extrovert. She is an extrovert. Upload. Upload files to the website. Questionnaire. Fill in a questionnaire. Clinic. A medical clinic. A dental clinic. Rigid. Rigid on the issue. Supervision. Under the proper supervision. Formula. The formula to calculate the diameter of a circle. Upright. Stay upright. First-hand. First-hand information. Treadmill. Escape from the treadmill of life. Solvent. Solvent enough to pay the debt. Simulate. Simulate space travel. Peninsula. Be located on the southern peninsula. Retention. Retention of good staff. Prolong. Prolong their lifespan. Burrow. Burrow into the sand. Rotate. Rotate on an axis. Pursuit. Spend his whole life in pursuit of perfection. Scenic. A city of scenic beauty. Chubby. The face of a chubby baby. Internship. An internship at a hospital. Stain. Stain the shirt. Outward. Be able to bend outward. Resentment. Remorse and resentment. Distasteful. Do distasteful work.
Day 5. Fallacy. Detect the fatal fallacy. Specimen. Get a blood specimen. Cardiovascular. A sign of a cardiovascular disease. Confine. Confine a performance to 10 minutes. Variable. Variable compensation. Illiterate. Teach illiterate students. Prospect. Prospect for economic recovery. Brink. On the brink of war. The brink of a cliff. Multimedia. Use a variety of multimedia. Camouflage. Spiders camouflage themselves from predators. Run into. Run into a severe typhoon. Tissue. His damaged skin tissue. Hold on to. Hold on to your dream. Reproduction. Control the reproduction. Maneuver. Carry out a secret maneuver. Clumsy. Clumsy with sewing. Fixate. The cat's gaze is fixated on the bird outside. Envious. Be envious of his success. Checkered. Wear a checkered dress. Intensive. The work is very labor-intensive. Extinguish. Extinguish a forest fire. Acquisition. The principle of child language acquisition. Aboriginal. Aboriginal traditional arts. Prevalent. The prevalent trends of society. Nearsighted. Dreadfully nearsighted. Witness. Witness various historical events. Restrain. Restrain children from making noise. Bothersome. Like a bothersome fly. Dominance. His dominance of the sport. Corporate. Emphasize corporate responsibility.
Day 6. Moderation. Consume in moderation. Extracurricular. Do extracurricular activities. Extrinsic. Extrinsic motivations. Anthropology. Anthropology research. Finite. Protect finite resources. Indispensable. Indispensable parts of my career. Coherent. Write a logical and coherent story. Headquarters. Set up headquarters in London. Discharge. Be discharged into the river. Consensus. Arrive at a consensus. Enrage. Seems so enraged. Mineral. extract minerals from the rock. Martial, martial spirit, martial law. Coral, the disappearance of coral reefs in Australia. Plateau, build a village atop a plateau. Nomadic, the ancient nomadic tribes. Membrane, cell membrane, a waterproof membrane. Ambitious, optimistic and ambitious. Nectar, turn nectar into honey. Customary, customary advice. Empirical, empirical knowledge, empirical data. Complement, complement each other well. Gross, Korea's gross national income. Stink, the fish stinks. Array, an array of weapons. Inertia, learn the law of inertia. Compact, a compact and eco-friendly vehicle. Uncommon, the uncommon natural phenomenon. Sharpen, sharpen a pencil. Outline, outline of the proposal.
Day 7. Savage. Commit a savage crime. Tide. A falling tide. Change in the tide. Parliament. Convene a parliament. Numerical. Numerical advantage. Fingertip. Tied a fingertip tight. Outweigh. The benefits outweigh the risk. Pollination. The pollination of flowers. Pupil. A clever pupil. Strap. A shoulder strap. A watch strap. Gleam. Gleam on the river. Predetermined. Predetermined schedule. Periodic. A periodic checkup. Unbearable. Unbearable pain. Peripheral. Peripheral issues. Unavoidable. Some unavoidable factors of life. Situate. Situate a church in the square. Spotlight. Come into the spotlight. Sanitation. Check the food sanitation. Pediatric. Become a pediatric neurosurgeon. Outdated. Replace outdated equipment. Visualize. Visualize flying like a bird. Thrilling. Listen to a thrilling story. Salient. Salient features of new computers. Traumatic. Chronic traumatic stress disorder. Sturdy. Design sturdier, reusable bags. Scope. Be limited in scope. Outage. A power outage. Mediation. Conduct the peer mediation program. Dreadful. A legend about a dreadful monster. Monumental. A monumental victory.
Day 8. Conspicuous, a conspicuous success. Momentum, lose momentum. Apparel, establish the apparel company. Coordinate, coordinate the new team. Compound, a calcium and vitamin compound. Amid, amid mountains, amid the crowd. Fuzzy, fuzzy ideas. Assurance, Receive assurances from financial backers. Inhabitant. The oldest inhabitant in the town. Infrastructure. Establish infrastructure. Itinerary. Draw up an itinerary. Multinational. Get a job at a multinational corporation. Celestial. Celestial harmony. Intensify. Intensify the defense. Imbalance. The imbalance of wealth. Yearn. Yearn to be loved. Immunize. Immunize against the flu. Intruder. An intruder in our territory. Incompatible. Incompatible with his father. Inference. Deductive inference. Affluent. An affluent society. Live an affluent life. Gymnastics. The national gymnastics competition. Intriguing. Intriguing news. Alienation. Suffer from a sense of alienation. Injustice. Stand against injustice. Grasshopper. A cloud of grasshoppers. Runway. Walk on a runway. Repel. Repel all the predators. Fuss. A fuss about nothing. Unreliable. False and unreliable news.
Day 9. Parasitic. Be infected with a parasitic disease. Triple. A triple alliance. Tie a triple knot. Radar. Radar observation. Prone. Prone to make a mistake. Unfounded. His unfounded claim. Preoccupied. Preoccupied with. Anxiously preoccupied. Reunion. Hold the school annual reunion. Align. Vertically align. Submission. Submission date. Submission to fear. Hindrance. The major hindrance of victory. Quest. A quest for knowledge. Quest to explore space. Moss. A rock covered with moss. Uphold. Uphold the law. Prolific. A prolific writer. Constitute. Constitute the civilized society. Monopoly. Have a monopoly of selling aspirin. Unjust. Unjust discrimination. Ovation. Give a standing ovation. Obscure. An obscure meaning. Plumber. Contact a plumber. Tackle. Tackle a difficult problem. Poultry. Run a poultry farm. Entrepreneur. A young entrepreneur. Turbulence. The emotional turbulence. Surge. Surge forward. Revise. A revised edition of the novel. Disparity. The disparity between the rich and the poor. Deterioration. Deterioration of air quality. Deficient. Deficient in essential nutrients. Unload. Unload the luggage from the ship.
Day 10. Banquet. Encounter her friend at the banquet. Utensil. Kitchen utensils. Brutal. the most brutal leaders in history. Caregiver, the important role of caregiver. Communal, instill the idea of communal spirit. Conscience, have a guilty conscience. Build up, the necessity of a military build-up. Adjacent, adjacent to the castle. An adjacent village. Botanic, visit the botanic garden. Anguish, understand the value of anguish. Conducive, conducive to English learning. Apparatus, invent a new breathing apparatus. Afloat, the amount of dust afloat in the air. Contestant, the model competition contestant. Desolate, the empty and desolate land. Amphibian, find the extinct amphibian. Authentic, his authentic description of the accident. Slap, slap her back hard. Astounding, an astounding achievement. Deceptive, self-deceptive attitude. Dormant, stay dormant. A dormant volcano. Configuration, change the configuration. Deem, deem him honest. Scribble, scribble a letter. Scribble on the wall. Pour, sweat pours. Grin, grin with delight. Geographic, a distinct geographic feature. Hallmark, the hallmarks of a horror movie. Obligation, a sense of obligation to society. Integral, integral parts of English curriculum.
Day 11. Habitual, a habitual gesture. Irresistible, an irresistible force. Liable, liable to pay the salary. Paradoxical, his paradoxical excuse. Introspective, an introspective and quiet student. Offensive, offensive words. Neural, discover a new neural circuit. Easygoing, an easygoing way of life. Heredity, handed down by heredity. Eloquent, make an eloquent speech. Endorse, endorse the new traffic policy. Fungus, a type of fatal fungus. Multitude, provide a multitude of functions. Imprint, the imprint of a foot on the snow. Heartbeat, the baby's irregular heartbeat. Inscription, a stone inscription. Nuisance, a big nuisance. What a nuisance. Downside, the downside to internet education. Improvise, improvise a speech. Dubious, dubious about the trip. Impoverished, an impoverished farmer. Faulty, faulty management. Inflammation, inflammation of the lungs. A mild inflammation. Merge, merge two companies. Overheat, overheat quickly. Euphemism, express by a euphemism. Prevail, prevail elsewhere. Stunning, look stunning. Rotten, The smell of rotten eggs. Thermal. Operate thermal power stations.
Day 12. Sprint. Sprint for the finish line. Setback. A setback to success. Spatial. Spatial awareness. Stern. A stern look. A stern warning. Physique. The physique of a soccer player. Revelation. Sensational revelations of the government. Recipient. Find the recipient of the letter. Acquaint. Acquaint him with the new work. Punctual. The importance of being punctual. Preferable. The preferable option. Rag. Scrub the floor with a rag. Suspension. Suspension period. Dodge. Dodge punishment. Petition. Online petition to shut down the factory. Rearing. Child rearing. Rinse. Rinse her mouth. Probable. Hardly probable. Skim. Skim the documents for mistakes. Tedious. The tedious performance. Tedious reading. Resilient. A resilient economy. Raid. Pirate raid. Raid enemy bases. Problematic. The ineffective and problematic solution. Reef. Study coral reefs. Portfolio. Prepare the design portfolio. Second-hand. Second-hand smoking. Thrifty. Live a thrifty life. Addictive. The danger of addictive drugs. Wobble. Wobble the chair. Archival. Archival culture. Relocate. Relocate from Tokyo to Busan.
Day 13. Vicious. Arrest the vicious criminal. Displace. Be displaced by the new machine. Undermine. Undermine security. Utterly. Utterly destroyed. Utterly absurd. Engrave. Engrave her son's name. Unclear. The unclear motivation. Abusive. Abusive behavior. Abusive parents. Sob. Sob loudly. Immobilize. Immobilize the broken arm. Conceive. Conceive a special plan. Turmoil. Bring about political turmoil. Volatile. A volatile substance. Warehouse. Store food in a warehouse. Tricky. Solve a tricky problem. Acute. Acute pneumonia. Acute pain. Wholesale. Offer goods at wholesale prices. Additive. An artificial additive. Affectionate. Affectionate with children. Flatten. Flatten the bread. Withhold. Withhold his consent. Verify. Verify his hypothesis with an experiment. Endow. Endow a scholarship. Weary. A weary body and soul. Velocity. Measure the velocity of a moving object. Admirable. his admirable accomplishments. Blight. The tomato blight. Assault. Commit assault. Affiliate. Be affiliated with local hospitals. Compress. Compressed hydrogen. Antiseptic. Apply the antiseptic cream to a wound.
Day 14. Carnivorous. A carnivorous animal. Bizarre. A bizarre hobby. Comparative. Comparative literature. The comparative degree. Aspire. Aspire to success. Chronological. In chronological order. Arena. Built a new baseball arena. Backbone. Get his backbone realigned. Civilian. Civilian casualties. A civilian expert. Altruism. Reciprocal altruism. Complicit. Be complicit in the cover-up. Blindfold. Wear a blindfold. Backfire. Seriously backfire. Autonomy. Grant autonomy. Bearable. Uncomfortable but bearable weather. Automotive. Lead the automotive industry. Catchy. A catchy design. Catchy phrases. Antecedent. The historical antecedent. Ambient. The ambient environment. Ambient lighting. Concise. A concise statement. Averse. Averse to the press. Barter. Barter salt for ice. Anatomy. Have expertise in human anatomy. Candid. A candid opinion. Bland. A bland melody. Compulsion. Under compulsion. Formidable. Do a formidable task. Discord. In discord with the facts. Descent. A swift descent. A gradual descent. Expenditure. The total expenditure. Festive. Enjoy the festive mood.
Day 15. Ephemeral. Ephemeral insects. Descendant. A direct descendant. Embody. Embody his will. Curse. The curse of the mummy. Clingy. A clingy dress. Converge. Converge on London. Courteous. Kind and courteous attitude. Contradictory. Contradictory to the common theory. Frenzy. In a frenzy. Drive him into a frenzy. Descent. Religious descent. Contingent. Be contingent on the weather. Finalize. Finalize his plan. Discrepancy. A discrepancy between the two parties. Pierce. Pierce the wall with a bullet. Downplay. Downplay Jane's accomplishment. Excavation. Look around the excavation site. Concur. Concur with her opinion. Deprive. Deprive her of the right. Fraught. Memories fraught with pain. Diarrhea. Suffer from severe diarrhea. coveted, the coveted position. Drawback, a drawback to the performance. Frantic, let out a frantic scream. Devour, devour the food on the table. Courageous, his very courageous challenge. Immerse, immerse your feet in water. Inconvenient, an inconvenient place. Imprudent, rude and imprudent behavior. Marvel, the marvels of nature. Impending, warn of the impending earthquake.
Day 16. Gourmet. Invite the gourmet to our restaurant. Horrific. A horrific crime scene. Glossy. Her glossy skin. Insure. Insure against illness. Juvenile. Juvenile delinquency. Germinate. Germinate seeds. Gist. Understand the gist of the essay. Kinesthetic. Use of kinesthetic intelligence. Irregular. An irregular road. Irregular verb. Insurmountable. Confront an insurmountable obstacle. Gobble. Gobble down all the bread. Invalid. An invalid patent. An invalid argument. Grid. Grid system. Power grid. Instantaneous. An instantaneous reaction. Impartial. Offer an impartial judgment. Honorary. Grant an honorary citizenship. Illegible. Her illegible handwriting. Intermediary. Intermediary between consumers. Groundless. Be surprised by a groundless fear. Lukewarm. A lukewarm attitude. Metabolism. Speed up metabolism. Invertebrate. A type of marine invertebrate. Incremental. Incremental change. Inhibit. Inhibit the growth of children. Gravitate. Gravitate to a certain culture. Recurrent. Suffer from recurrent pain. Shrub. Prune a shrub. Ambivalent. Show an ambivalent attitude. Glide. Glide over the ice. Sanitize. Sanitize the glass bottle.
Day 17. Plague. The Black Plague. Negligible. A negligible side effect. Ration. Insufficient bread rations. Overlap. Overlap sheets of paper. Replica. Make a replica of the bridge. Embed. Embed in the wall. Embed deeply. Predominant. A predominant characteristic. Presuppose. Presuppose the positive result. Stem from. Stem from global warming. Preparatory. Preparatory training for the Olympics. Propensity. The propensity of teenagers to consume. Tangible. Tangible assets. Moan. Moan with sorrow. Shriek. Shriek with fear. Encompass. Encompass a wide range of interests. Mundane. bored with a mundane job. Reap. Reap grain. Reap enormous profits. Paramount. Of paramount importance. Mandate. Give a clear mandate. Perceptive. Perceptive judgment. Impel. Impel her to run. An impelling force. Whirl. Whirl in the wind. Whirl around. Algebra. Major in algebra and social science. Screech. Screech out of pain. Mischief. Be full of mischief. Constrict. Constrict the blood vessel. Uplift. Uplift his spirit. Escalate. Escalate the problem. Consolidate. Consolidate the theory. Demolition. The demolition of the old castle.
Day 18. Degenerative. A degenerative disease. Aggravate. Aggravate his symptoms. Epic. Study the Reformation epic. Ensue. After the earthquake, floods ensued. Secluded. Walk along the secluded beach. Paraphrase. Paraphrase the question. Decompose. Take 1,000 years to decompose. Transparent. Design a transparent bridge. Steadfast. Steadfast principle. His steadfast love. Vanity. Intellectual vanity. Be full of vanity. Ramification. Obvious ramifications. Bereaved. A recently bereaved woman. Imperative. An imperative duty. Preliminary. Preliminary inquiries. Informant. An anonymous informant. Terse. Terse conversation. Terse solution. Adversary. Come up against an adversary. Bypass. Take the bypass. Miser. Be well known as a miser. Captivate. Captivate her fans. Unrecognized. Unrecognized problems. Stark. A stark difference. Sentiment. Display his sentiment. Fictitious. Make a fictitious character. Slate. A fallen slate. Be slated for. Mortal. Our mortal enemies. A mortal wound. Wither. Be withered by drought. Proponent. A proponent of new policy. Salute. Salute the national hero. Unleash. Unleash the bigger weapons.
Day 19. Stammer. Start to stammer. Redeem. Redeem his mistake. Underestimate. Underestimate his accomplishment. Subsidiary. Subsidiary income. A subsidiary company. Tranquil. A tranquil lake. Stagger. Stagger around. Iconic. The iconic Greek building. Exhortation. Make a strong exhortation. Substandard. Substandard language ability. Amplify. Amplify the public anxiety. Spokesperson. A spokesperson of foreign workers. Remainder. The remainder of his property. Supremacy. Hold world supremacy. Imprison. Imprison a person for murder. Cite. Cite Cindy's experiment data. Inconsiderate. Inconsiderate advice. Downshift. Downshift to decrease speed. Crispy. Bite a crispy apple. Climax. Reach a climax. Shrug. Start to shrug and laugh. Overboard. Throw boxes overboard. Imprecise. Give imprecise information. Makeshift. A makeshift solution. Asymmetry. A curious asymmetry. Single out. Single out a new leader. Wholehearted. Her mother's wholehearted support. Predicament. Be in a terrible predicament. Snatch. Snatch her bag and run away. Summon. Summon the police. Humane. The humane treatment of criminals.
Day 20. Wade. Wade into the water. Remnant. Remnants of lunch. Ideology. Capitalist ideology. Deviate. Deviate from his original plan. Astray. Go astray. Be easily led astray. Respiratory. Suffer from respiratory disease. Proximal. Proximal to the ankle. Nuance. Every nuance of his expression. Rewind. Rewind a tape in a tape recorder. Manpower. A serious manpower shortage. Internalize. Internalize positive values. Momentary. A momentary joy. Trifle. Waste time on trifles. Reactivate. Reactivate his account. Sarcastic. Blame Joe for his sarcastic behavior. Populous. The most populous city in Korea. Solidarity. Enhance community solidarity. Correspondent. Work as a foreign correspondent. Stale. Provide a stale salad. Besiege. Besiege enemies and start to attack. Incur. Incur a risk. Shortcoming. Be aware of his shortcoming. Brute. Brute instinct. Differ from the brute. Vigorously. Protest vigorously. Walk vigorously. Theoretically. Theoretically false conclusions. Exemplify. Exemplify his new research result. Censor. Censor books and movies. Sentence. Sentence a person to death. Altruistic. The importance of altruistic motives. Predecessor. My immediate predecessor.
Day 21. Upbringing. Have a bad upbringing. Negation. The negation of fair judgment. Bulk. The bulk of the crowd. In bulk. Contempt. Anger turns to contempt. speck, a speck of dust. Temperament, have a hysterical temperament. Authenticate, authenticate facts. Agile, as agile as a squirrel. Dazzling, dazzling beauty. Electoral, electoral reformation. Detract, detract attention from the problem. Torment, mental torment. Theorem, prove a new theorem. Pail, a milk pail and 2 loaves of bread. Elusive, his elusive motivation. Acrobat, an aerial acrobat. Mute, a mute appeal. Amoral, the amoral principle. Pinpoint, pinpoint the location on the map. Unprecedented, an unprecedented crisis. Neutralize, neutralize poison. Neutralize an opposition. Interplay, interplay between 2 technologies. Ebb, the ebb tide. The ebb of life. Fluctuate, fluctuating price. Outnumber, outnumbered in the consumer market. Serial, a 3-part serial. In serial order. Nocturnal, a nocturnal animal. Hiss, the snake started to hiss. Mutter, start to mutter complaints. Customization, mass customization.
Day 22. Wrestle. Wrestle with the invader. Fearsome. Get a fearsome reputation. Circumstantial. Gather circumstantial evidence. On board. Load goods on board. Bump into. Bump into wild animals. Revisit. Revisit the historical site. Hobble. Hobble across the street. Coursework. Offer relevant coursework. Discontent. Show discontent toward the policy. Divert. Divert the course of a river. Verdict. Reach a verdict. Watchdog. A government watchdog agency. Roam. Roam freely. Sterilized. Offer sterilized water. Legible. Legible handwriting. Exquisite. Make an exquisite dress. Radiant. Enjoy a radiant morning. Stereotype. A cultural stereotype. Metaphorical. Write a poem with metaphorical words. Sage. Offer sage counsel. Hospitable. Receive hospitable treatment. Compute. Compute the total income. Hideous. His hideous face. Propagate. Propagate a wrong ideology. Entity. Lose one's entity. Overshoot. Overshoot the mark. Shameless. In a shameless manner. Ideological. Political and ideological issue. Contemptuous. Contemptuous treatment. Repress. Repress the freedom of speech.
Day 23. Malicious. Spread the malicious gossip. Pronounce. Pronounce French correctly. Benevolent. Show a benevolent attitude. Instill. Instill the idea of freedom. Sullen. Look sullen. Her sullen attitude. Scrap. Scrap the plan. Vie. Vie for the gold medal. Appall. Be appalled at the thought of war. Dysfunctional. A dysfunctional family. Rationale. The rationale behind the new policy. Deference. Show deference to teachers. Partake. Partake in the local festival. Residual. Residual products. Unrestricted. Be afraid of unrestricted power. Senator. A junior senator. Amenity. Every available amenity. Blunt. His speech was very blunt. Mash. Make salad with mashed potatoes. Outright. The outright winner. Replenish. Replenish his cup with milk. Synonymously. The two words are used synonymously. Aftermath. The aftermath of the accident. Spur. A powerful spur to victory. Copious. Eat copious amounts of chocolate. Vaccination. A flu vaccination. Sanctuary. A sanctuary for the refugees. Retrospect. In retrospect. Maladaptive. Maladaptive disorder. Sensational. A sensational event. Footstep. The sound of the dog's footstep.
Day 24. Premonition. A premonition of a natural disaster. Deadlock. Break a deadlock. Unseen. Unseen dangers. Analog. Send an analog signal. Lavish. Live a lavish life. Lavish in praise. Unstable. Unstable weather conditions. Ordinal. An ordinal number. Execution. A stay of execution. Carry into execution. Commission. Commission of power. Outlandish. An outlandish idea. An outlandish situation. Telegram. Send a telegram. Misread a telegram. Encrust. Encrust with dirty mud. Painstaking. A painstaking task. Spiral. A spiral-shaped shell. Agenda. Set the agenda. The important agenda. Flick. Flick the water on her sleeves. Scramble. Scramble over the window. Abrasion. An abrasion on his face. Dangle. Dangle from the window. Maladjusted. Guide maladjusted students. Entreaty. Pay attention to her entreaty. Cram. Cram up. Revolt. Lead a revolt. Put down a revolt. Gratify. Be gratified with the math test result. Abbreviate. Abbreviate a phrase. Virtuous. Dream of a virtuous society. Sizable. A sizable garden. Adjoin. Adjoin each other. Orient. Orient themselves in the heavy rain. Commonality. Commonality between two groups.
Day 25. Accountant. Recruit a new accountant. Pervasive. Pervasive in our society. Assimilate. Be assimilated into American culture. Spear. Attack with a spear. Lawful. A lawful act. Her lawful heir. Entrust. Entrust her brother with a task. Strenuous. Enjoy strenuous exercise. Reel. A reel on a fishing rod. A reel of film. Centralize. A centralized system of government. Cellar. Walk down into the cellar. Vivacious. Her vivacious expression. Hamper. Be hampered by bad weather. Splendid. Have a splendid time with family. Backtrack. Backtrack on her claim. Sabotage. Commit sabotage. Miscellaneous. Do miscellaneous work. Denote. Denote the dangerous situation. Utilitarian. A utilitarian choice. Sensoromotor. Sensoromotor disorder. Degrade. Degrade human dignity. Fleet. The support of fleets. Perpetual. Offer a perpetual life. Evict. Be evicted from an apartment. Soluble. Soluble in water. Numb. Numb with cold. Gravy. Steak with thick gravy sauce. Deviant. The deviant behavior of teenagers. Downfall. Lead to the empire's downfall. Binocular. A binocular telescope. Formulate. Formulate a transportation policy.
Day 26. Passerby. Ask a passerby for directions. Pedagogical. Develop a new pedagogical method. Naughty. A naughty child. Reconciliation. Request reconciliation. Oversee. Oversee a project. Rally. A peace rally. Nourish. Nourish the body. Entangle. Get entangled in the trap. Recessive. Recessive gene. Acclaim. Receive critical acclaim. Disperse. Disperse quickly. Meek. A meek-eyed girl. Dock. The boat was docked in Busan. Conjure. Teach his grandson to conjure. Moist. In moist air. Standpoint. A religious standpoint. Aviation. Construct a new aviation station. Testimony. Rely on the testimony. Rehabilitation. Manage the rehabilitation program. Unlock. Unlock a safe. Pathway. Block the pathway. Stake. Be at stake. Stake a claim. Eject. Eject him from the classroom. cane, sugarcane farm. Psychiatrist. See a psychiatrist twice a month. Robust. Robust youngsters. Cavity. The mouth cavity. Treat a cavity. Ridicule. Hold her sister up to ridicule. Drape. Drape around her arms. Shovel. A man with a shovel.
Day 27. Outlast. Outlast other products. Intricate. Solve an intricate problem. Bountiful. A bountiful supply of water. Barrel. Scoop water out of a barrel. Ethologist. Study to become an ethologist. Determinant. A prime determinant. Rigorous. Meet rigorous criteria. Rage. Shake with rage. Impede. Impeded the traffic. Cruise. A cruise along the Pacific Ocean. Criterion. Examine a criterion. Overturn. Overturn a conviction. Sensuous. Sensuous expression. Plight. Lay in plight. A hopeless plight. Adhesive. Buy a strong adhesive. Denounce. Denounce openly. Crumble. Crumble into dust. Surmise. His surmise of the weather. Stingy. Stingy about money. Vertebrate. A vertebrate with 2 arms. Unpack. Unpack a package. Rodent. Study about the habits of rodents. Stride. Stride across the street. Analogous. Analogous to a rabbit. Pitfall. Avoid a hidden pitfall. Armistice. Break an armistice agreement. Unfold. Unfold a newspaper. Debase. Debase the quality of the car. Symposium. Attend the International Symposium. Questionable. His questionable behavior.
Day 28. Redundant. Delete redundant details. Slender. Anne's slender figure. Adept. Adept at teaching students. Forefront. At the forefront of his field. Perspire. Perspire heavily. Guideline. The guideline for buying a cellular phone. Incessant. Incessant snow. Indubitable. Indubitable fact. Temper. His quick temper. In a temper. Overt. Overt symptoms. Misfortune. Against misfortune. Erroneous. An erroneous diagnosis. Pension. Live on a retirement pension. Mow. Mow the lawn 3 times a month. Regress. Regress to old bad habits. Disposition. Have a cheerful disposition. Sparse. His sparse beard. Overpass. Remove the overpass. Transcript. A transcript of the interview. Obligatory. The task is obligatory. Unveil. unveil herself. Franchise, a rail franchise, adult franchise. Apathy, apathy toward democracy. Subsidize, be subsidized by the government. Casualty, check the number of casualties. Susceptible, susceptible to cold weather. Quantitative, a quantitative difference. Non-existent, imagine non-existent creatures. Meticulous, with meticulous care. Rhetorical, a rhetorical device.
Day 29. Reconfirm. Reconfirm the flight schedule. Ranch. Run a cattle ranch. Maternal. Read a poem about maternal love. Accentuate. Accentuate the regular exercise. Disapprove. Disapprove of the social change. Conquest. The conquest of disease. Ambush. Lie in ambush. Gravel. Walk along the gravel path. Turbulent. Meet an atmospheric turbulent flow. Implicit. An implicit message in his speech. Surmount. Surmount the obstacle. Shorthand. Take the speech down in shorthand. Grievance. Have a grievance with the policy. Ruthless. A ruthless leader. Mythology. Be interested in Greek mythology. Catastrophe. A global catastrophe. Rejoice. Rejoice in her daughter's recovery. Drowsy. Feel drowsy. A drowsy afternoon. Languish. Languish in the extreme drought. Covert. Covert operations. Deficit. A trade deficit. Reduce the budget deficit. Presume. Presume Peter is innocent. Slovenly. A slovenly manner. Deceit. Detect his deceit. Self-deceit. Unpredictable. Unpredictable weather conditions. Smash. Smash the fence. Bulge. A bulge in the floor. Intrigue. Be intrigued by his suggestion. Equate. Equate money with success. Solemn. His solemn expression.
Day 30. Subside. Wait for the pain to subside. Lick. Lick the ice cream. Solitude. In solitude. Enjoy solitude. Hereditary. Suffer from a hereditary disease. Gauge. Gauge the diameter of the moon. Enact. Enact a law related to air pollution. Preacher. A famous Korean preacher. Ripple. A ripple of applause. Ethnologist. Invite a famous ethnologist. Prosecute. Prosecute him for theft. Vocational. Take a vocational aptitude test. Causality. Prove the causality. Receptive. Receptive to new ideas. Coincide. The accident coincides with the storm. Transcend. Transcend her physical limit. Polygon. Draw a regular polygon. Hover. Hover above the mountain. Deplore. Deplore his death. Non-profitable. Set up a non-profitable organization. Thigh. Tore a muscle in my right thigh. Shuffle. Shuffle across the road. Dreary. Cold and dreary season. Archaic. Archaic language. Sluggish. Sluggish animals. Influx. An influx of refugees. Assort. Assort books in alphabetical order. Despise. Despise a violent attitude. Prudent. Make a prudent decision. Agitate. Agitate for equal opportunities. Abort. Abort the experiment.